everybody, a warm welcome to the Kick at the Balearics, episode number 15, no less. Welcome, and this is where myself and Martin Makepeace from Ibiza talk about Balearic football. It's Real Mallorca in La Segunda, which is La Liga Smartbank is the other name for it. La Segunda B, where we've got UDI Ibiza and Peña Deportiva in Ibiza, and over here we've got Atlético Balears and UDI Poblense, talking about Tercera Division and local football, which both our boys play in, of course, as well. So firstly, how are you, Mark? Are you okay?
Yeah, good. Very well, Richie. Good. Nice week over here. Weather's been fantastic. A couple of dodgy days, but weather's fantastic now. I watched a game this morning. I'm watching a game this afternoon, and I've got one tomorrow morning as well. So it's great to be back watching football.
Yep, I just got back from Soller, actually, watching my son play in an absolute belter of a storm up in the mountains.
Saw that.
Yeah, it was raining like you can't believe. First league game of the season for my boys' team, and first sort of league game for 8 months, which is, it's been a long old time to start playing games again. And then he got injured in the week of training, so unfortunately he couldn't play. It's typical, isn't it? They got beat 2-1, unfortunately. So we move on to next week, which we're playing them again next week. So let's get on with our football. I think we'll start this week with Atlético Balears, because I went again to the game last week. Another socially distanced game. I thought it was much better organised this time round. It was basically every row. If you remember when I went before, it was one row yes, one row no. Then you had to have 2 seats either side of you, and everybody was very confused. It wasn't very well organised, I didn't think. But this time around, very well organised. Every row was permitted, but there was 1 seat yes and 1 seat no. So basically, you had 1 seat either side of you that was free, which is great. A lot more stewards around.
Even if you were the family member, Richie, or...
No, if you were a family member, you were sat together. That was okay.
Right, okay, gotcha. Gotcha.
A lot more stewards around. I thought that was great. They've done a deal with EB3, which is the local TV network here. So the game was live on EB3 as well, which is good to see, because obviously, with the amount of season ticket holders they've got, and they can only allow 1,000 fans in every week, then not everybody can get to see the game. So it was on EB3 as well. Wasn't a great game, I'll be perfectly honest. I was quite impressed with Atlético Madrid B's team. Quite a few youngsters in that team. They went ahead in the first half. Balears played better in the second half, brought 2 subs on second half. Also brought on Armando Sachoa. He's the boy that they've got from Tottenham on loan for the season. And to be honest, he did bring a bit more bite into the attack. He sort of speeded it up a bit, and they did manage to equalise the 88th minute with a goal from the Tank.
Tanke.
Yes. The
How's
Tank.
How's he played?
Well. He's your typical, big, heavy centre forward that he can't turn. He turns like a cruise ship, but he's a target man, and he has put the ball in the net a couple of times, which is what he's there for. So he's not very mobile, let's put it like that, but he scored with a header, which is what he's there to do. So that's the important thing. So listen, all in all, I don't think they played that well. They played much better the last time I saw them, but they did come out with a draw, which is as we always say, not playing well, at least come out with a point.
They've gone off the ball, Rich, haven't they? Because they got a good win first up 4-0, and we probably thought maybe we went a bit early on them. We thought, well, this is Atlético Balears, that's them off to a great start. Let the points roll in, but they've just come a little bit unstuck, haven't they? Really, losing to Majada Honda and now drawing. So that's a 1-1, lost 1, draw 1, isn't it? So I mean, what's the general feeling, Richie, when you're there? What are the crowds saying? What's the atmosphere like? Is it nerves? Because it sounds to me like they're a bit nervy.
Yeah, listen, I think, I think they're good enough from what I've seen of the other teams so far. I didn't see the Majada Honda game live, but I saw the other 2 games. They were supposed to be playing Real Madrid Castilla this week, but I don't know if you've seen in the news, it was in my blog as well. They've had 11 members of staff go down with COVID this week. Yeah. And so they've had to isolate. It's not all playing staff, it's some sort of, the training side and other staff as well. So they've had to isolate the whole club.
Though, isn't it, Richie? It happened to UDI last week.
Yeah.
It's happened to
it did.
Real Madrid Castilla. So it's going to happen. The shame of it is that's a cracking fixture, Real Madrid Castilla versus Atlético Balears.
It would have been.
Fixture. So, never mind, but as well. I just get the feeling that with the new format, which we've talked about before, that it's really important you get off to that big start and you get the points on the board. I just got a feeling, I mean, I saw the highlights of the game as well. They're just playing within themselves. I think the nerves are kicking in a little bit, and the importance of the situation is maybe getting on top of them at the moment. They've played some good sides, by the way. Maca the Honda were in the Segunda not so long ago. And you've got, Atletico Madrid B, that you're always going to come up against good players there as well. So maybe it's just a case of getting those difficult games out of the way. But I just sense a little bit of nerves from Atlético Balears, and I'm hoping they can overcome it, and the tank can score a few more.
Yeah. Listen, it's important, as I think we keep saying, is, try not to lose games. If you've got to draw them. Look, they're at the moment they're in third place, 4 points. There's a team called Naval Carnero who are top. They played 3-1-3. Major de Honda second, Atletico Balears third, but Balears is 5 points behind already. That top team, so they need to start getting back to winning ways once they get this COVID thing out of the way, basically.
If they don't, sorry, Rich. Last thing I'll say about it: if Atletico Balears don't get into that top tier, it will be a massive failure.
I agree, and they've definitely put money behind the team. They've made lots of improvements to the stadium. I think the stadium is looking great. The pitch is fantastic. It would be a failure. You're right if they didn't get themselves up this year. So let's see. So obviously Udi didn't play because Alcoyana had a problem with COVID. But another good result for Peña.
Yeah, Peña. Well, good result. I'm not sure. I mean, 0-0 away from home. At home. I suppose you could say another point on the board. It was against Atletico Levante, which is Levante's B side. I think it's slowly but surely for Peña at the moment. They're playing against Hércules tomorrow from Alicante. I just saw them getting on the ferry, actually. I just saw them going to the ferry this morning. So they're on the ferry as we speak, going over to the mainland, which might be very interesting because it looks like it's cleared a bit, but it was a bit bumpy this morning. So,
is a ferry the right thing to do? Is it? I mean, I know it's going to be probably cheaper, but I would imagine flying would be better.
Flying's quicker, but believe it or not, by the time I met it's one of your boys. Good to see you. Yeah, good. It's quite strange, Richie, because it's 2 hour ferry or half an hour flight. But by the time you've gone to the airport, you've checked in and you've waited for your flight, you've come off it, whatever, it's about the same trip. So the ferry sometimes works well. If it's flat, the ferry, it's like you're not even on it. So in many ways, it works in your favour. So the players can relax and listen to some music, watch a movie. So let's see. Enough about the ferry though. Tomorrow the match, Hércules. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think they're going to carry on the draws. They probably need to get something out of the match, and they're looking confident, mate. I spoke to the assistant trainer this morning. He's looking confident. He's feeling confident, and I think they're going there. Maybe not for a win, but they're definitely going to go for a draw.
UD this week?
UD, they're playing at home tomorrow, Richie.
And who they got?
I'm just checking. They got right. I can't say this well. Atzeneta.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a lot of these teams I've never heard of before, by the way.
Nah, me too. Yeah.
So, because what's happened, because with the new format, they've mixed it in, haven't they? Yeah. Usually we know all the Balearics or that are kind of Aries team, but Atzeneta I've never heard of as well. But home tie tomorrow. Be 1,000 people in the ground. Unfortunately, I can't make it tomorrow because my local team, Port Manny's playing it versus Constancia, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Okay.
So, UD at home. I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win. I think they're going to, on the crest of a wave. I think their home matches now must wins, and I think they'll do it tomorrow. And I think Carcero's doing a really good job. Unai Emery's old number 2. He's doing a very good job. They seem very tight. They seem a very relaxed squad. So I'm going for a home win.
Good stuff. Udi Poblense got another good draw last weekend against Las Rosas, although it was Las Rosas' first point. Udi are lying in 9th of the 10 teams right now.
I'm worried about Poblense, Richie. I really am. I'm worried about them. We need them to stay up, don't we? We want them to stay up.
Yeah. Definitely. They've got a home game against Getafe's B team this weekend. So you'd hope that they could get something out of that. Getafe just a bit above them in the league. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be tough for Poblense. They've not done this for about 31, 32 years. So it's it's going to be tough up there. But let's see. Let's hope they can get something out of the game at the weekend. All this Sunday games are 12 midday kickoffs. And then we get on to Real Mallorca, who kick off on Sunday evening, 6:15. But unfortunately, couldn't continue their run of scoring form and managed a 0-0 draw away in Zaragoza.
It's not a bad result, though, Richie, is it? It's not a bad one. No. If you win your home games and you draw your away games, then you're nearly there, aren't you? So, I mean, after the goal fest of the week before, I mean, I can't say I'm not disappointed, Richie, because I was expecting some goals. But, I think a 0-0 away from home, we've mentioned it every week, we'll say it again, goals are a premium in the Segunda. I think you've got to be happy, haven't you? I think as a fan, you've got to be happy, Richie, aren't you?
Yeah, lying third place. They're 4 points behind Espanyol in first, 3 points behind Sporting Gijón in second. So yeah, they're in a pretty good place right now. Obviously, not conceding goals again, so that's a good thing. And Ponferradina is the team they're playing this weekend. 6:15 kickoff at the Som Moix, or Estadio Balear, of course. Not Estadio Balear, sorry, that's Baleares' ground.
Visit Mallorca Stadium, mate. Visit Mallorca Stadium. So which we all must be doing here. What's the feeling, mate? What's the buzz? Tell me about the local gossip about Mallorca. Anything doing?
Everybody seems to be really happy right now. You're the third place after where you are right now. We keep talking about it, but you're not conceding goals. As you read also that Manolo Reina got voted Player of the Month for October, which is a great result for him. So well done to him. Standout candidate, only conceded 2 goals in that month. So well done to him. And yeah, look, just win your home games, as you say. Try not to lose your away games, and you'll be there or thereabouts at the end of the season, without a doubt.
Knocking on the door. I'm pleased for Mallorca. I've got to say, I think if you just said after 10 games you're going to be, you've got 19 points and you're third in the division, I think you'd have taken that all day long, Richie, wouldn't you?
No, definitely. And reports circulated this week. I saw one of these. This was come out on Twitter that Mallorca looking to build a football academy at their Son Biblioni training ground, along the lines of La Masia, which is obviously Barcelona's big training centre. And also Villarreal as well. Villarreal have got a fantastic trainer, which we've both been to. So that will be interesting. For Mallorca. Trying to put together a plan. That they have obviously proved that they can bring in good players, bring youth players through right now. But obviously, what's happening? A lot of them are sort of going to other teams. They're having to bring them in, or they're going quite early. So if they can actually bring them through the academies and everything else, that will set them well for the future, and the future sort of stability of the club, because the club has to obviously self-sustain itself, really. That's the way to do it, bringing people up through the youth and hopefully keeping hold of the good ones. We know it's difficult because, the vultures of the La Liga, if we're not in there, will come and pick off the best ones. But, we'll see. Hopefully that's good news, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about that.
What's the feeling about Real Mallorca on the island, Rich? I know we've mentioned it before. Do the local teams feel that there's a lot of kind of anything channels into Real Mallorca and all the other teams get forgotten, or is there a bit of a backlash against that, Richie? Or, I mean, is that the right word? I'm not sure. Or are you pleased that you have a top flight football team on the island? Which is very important for Eric's, isn't it?
I think, as you know, Mark, look, in actual fact, even from Mallorca's point of view, sometimes that's not the number one team for fans here. Normally, the number one team is either Barcelona or Real Madrid, or maybe even Atlético Madrid. And Mallorca comes in second, I don't think so. I think everybody would like to see Mallorca do well. I think most people that are involved in football in any way, shape or form on the islands know that a Balearic team in La Liga can only be good for the area, can only be good for the future of football here and everything else. And long may it continue.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Mallorca B now. Got 2 or 3 players who come from Ibiza. So I think for us over here, if you were playing well in Ibiza, where can you get the outlet from? And if you look at it, it's San Francisco, isn't it? Because that's your feeder club. And then you go from San Francisco, you go into Mallorca B, and Mallorca B, if you're good enough, you're going to get a run out in Mallorca. And if you get a run out in Real Mallorca's first team, then who knows what might happen. So yeah, I mean, we all know that when there's one big club in one place, sometimes jealousy gets the better of people. But I mean, I think for the Balearic Islands, Real Mallorca is a very important piece of the jigsaw.
I think, Mark, look, the ideal solution, or the ideal situation would be Mallorca in La Liga. You get Atlético Balears, New Ibiza in La Liga Smart Bank, and then maybe Udi, Poblense, and Peña Deportiva, in the top echelons of Segunda B or whatever it's going to be called next season. Yeah. And then you've got quite a good little pyramid there. Do you know what I mean? Of teams sort of, moving up. Mallorca, if they're going to go up again next year, they need to stabilise and just try and stay in there. Because it's important.
When we look where we were, as I say, was it 3 years ago when you guys were in Segunda B? Were you in Segunda B? I think.
Yeah, Segunda B.
I think we didn't have any. I think you were still the highest ranked team in Segunda B. I think you and Formentera, I think, was the ones in Segunda B. So if you look where we've gone in 3 years in Balearic football, as you said, great shout what you said there. We need Udi and Atlético Balears to go to the Smart Bank, and we need because then we might get more followers on our show, mate. You never know.
Exactly, mate. They'll be climbing out. Listen, I've mentioned this guy before, but I think it's important to mention him again. His name's Carlos Vicens. He was born here. He was born over in Colonia de San Jorge, over the east coast of the island. He started his coaching career at Los Atensi. He also went on to Santander as well. We talked about him earlier in the season because he's been at Manchester City. He's been a number 2 for quite a while at Manchester City to the under-18s. He took over this year, and Man City have just beaten Chelsea 3-2 in the FA Youth Cup final. It's their first trophy in 12 years. So it's a fantastic result for him, and obviously for City, of course, going forward. But for him, from a personal point of view, City's first youth trophy in 12 years, and breaks a run of 4 final defeats as well. So well done to him. Trying to get an interview with him, but it's very, very difficult to get to those sort of people in those sort of clubs. But we'll keep going.
Yeah, good shout. Now, very important. Again, another cog in the Balearic football, because he'll have some amazing contacts now. I mean, Man City, one of the richest clubs in the world. The fact that and he'll be back to Mallorca sooner or later. We know that anyway. So when he comes back, he'll come back with the contact book. So great shout.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Thera then. Into Thera in Group A. It's been led by Andrach. They've got 9 points, from 3 games, maximum points. So well done to them. A little bit tighter in the Group B, where you've got Players de Calvia, who maintained their unbeaten start with a 2-1 win over previously unbeaten Formentera last weekend. So it's quite tight in that one, more so than the other one. Your boys, I didn't see your boys' result. How did your boys get on? Port Manny.
No, we didn't play last weekend, mate.
Okay.
No, it was.
I didn't fear them.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those, again, went down because of COVID, went down to a postponement last weekend. So we missed out. But tomorrow, Constancia at 12 o'clock kickoff, Richie. What do you know about Constancia? I heard they're a decent side.
Yeah, Constancia, basically everybody will know them. They're at Inca. Once again, quite a good setup. I've been there to their grass as far as I can remember. It's a few years, I think, since I last got there. That will probably be. Is it? Where is it at, Constancia?
No, it's Port Manny. I'm going to go and watch it tomorrow, 12 o'clock kickoff. So
okay.
I'm looking forward to that, because again, we missed out last week on the postponed game. So I think it'll be a great atmosphere. I think there'll be a lot of people down there tomorrow as well, because I mentioned before, Port Manny, my local side, they just seem to have a little bit more energy about them this year. They bought Carlos Luque in, who was the trainer. He's stayed pre-season, and he's got them going, Richie. So I think it will be a really good game. And any game between an Ibiza side and the Mallorca side always has a little bit of niggle, doesn't it? So
I agree.
Let's see how many yellows and reds get produced tomorrow. And then this afternoon, just give my another local side a thing. It's the Juvenile Nacional this afternoon. Peña versus Port Manny. So we're going to go and watch that at 5 o'clock. And that's always a tasty affair as well, because it's Santulalia on the east coast of Ibiza versus San Antonio on the west coast of Ibiza. There's always a bit of bite about this game as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Also, it's the next generation of the players coming through to the team. So looking forward to it, Richard.
Yeah, it's also Division d'Honneur. My boys' teams for San Francisco didn't play last week because there was an outbreak of COVID in the team that they were due to be playing against, so they couldn't go. But they're away against Girona. This is the top echelons of youth football, Division d'Honneur. We are in a very difficult league. There is Espanyol, Real Mallorca, Barcelona.
Wow, that is tough. That's a tough league, mate.
That is Girona as well, which San Francisco are playing. I think it's today or first thing tomorrow morning. Peña got a result last week. Well done to them. They won 3-2 away last week, which is a great result for them. Good start. So it's a tough old league that. But I'm hoping that we'll be able to go to see some games because I've been before to watch them play Barcelona, it's always good to watch the youngsters at that age.
I love seeing those Barcelona youngsters, mate, or not just Barcelona, Madrid or Atletico Madrid, because the youngsters there, they're on a different level, aren't they? Because they have to be, because they get cherry picked for the biggest, one of the biggest sides in the world. But I love to see it because there's always some exciting players there. I mean, before you saw what was the young kid's name who went to PSG? The Dutch guy. You saw him, didn't you, a couple of times? Oh yeah,
Xavi Simon.
Yes, Xavi Simon as well. And there's a great picture we've got. In Portmany of playing against Barca many years ago. I can't remember. There's a lot of players who went on to become billion-pound or million-pound players who were playing. So really exciting to watch those games.
Good. And that's just about it. So good luck to all our teams this weekend. And don't forget, you can download this as a Zoomcast on YouTube very shortly, and it'll be up as a podcast tomorrow. And we'll be back next week. Follow us all on normal places on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, of course, as well. And enjoy your games this afternoon and tomorrow, Mark.
Cheers, Richie. Thanks a lot, mate. Really enjoyed it as always.
All right, mate. Take care.
See you, mate. Bye-bye.